Good afternoon and welcome once again to the Mayor's weekly press conference. It's Wednesday, April 19th at about 2:07 in the afternoon. It's fairly nice outside right now. High today is supposed to be 76 degrees and cloudy, but looking out the window, I think I see the sun peeking out there. Tomorrow, going to be 84 degrees, and the low is going to be 57. Going into Friday, 70 degrees. Saturday is going to be a wet one, looking at about 90% rain on Saturday. And it's going to be a little bit chilly, 53 degrees, and then rolling back into the 60s Sunday, Monday, and then it's going to go back up again. So some good things, but not looking like a great weekend for everybody. We've got a lot of stuff going on around the city today. And into the week and weekend, throughout the week and the weekend and into next week. You know, to begin with, we've got spring cleanup week that will be underway next week, April 24th to the 28th. I mentioned this last week. Residents can bring out unlimited numbers of garbage bags, trash bags, and take them to the curbside during normal trash collection dates. That's key. Remember that. It's during your normal trash. Don't just drag it out there at random times. Larger items such as furniture, mattresses, things of that nature can be placed at the curb, but there will be a special haul charge associated with that. There's also dumpsters down at the city service safety garage, the service garage rather, which is 387 West State Street. And those can be used free of charge for putting things into those dumpsters. Residents need to provide an ID or your utility bill with address to use that. Those are open or available 7:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. each day during cleanup week. I'll get into our household hazardous waste. That is not going to be, materials cannot be taken down to the dumpster, nor can they be placed out at the curb for household hazardous waste. But we'll get to that in a minute. Move out week. Ohio University will host the graduation exercise during the weekend of April 28th. So congratulations to anyone who's graduating the 28th and the 29th. So congratulations. But with that comes move out week as well. Residents are going to be moving out. They can take their recyclables, non-perishable food items, furniture, mattresses, and to various locations throughout the community. We encourage you to go online to identify where those drop-off locations are. You can visit www.ohio.edu/moveout /. So check those out. It indicates all the different places around the city that you can bring things that are still serviceable and usable items. Race for a Reason is coming up this weekend, April 22nd at 8 a.m. The focal point of this event will be Walter Fieldhouse at Ohio University. Starting at 8 a.m., a number of races will begin. There's a triathlon, a duathlon rather, a 5K, a 3K walk, and a mud run. So, you know, just be careful when you're kind of driving around the city, in particular Schaefer Street, South Green Drive, Dairy Lane. There will be police officers out directing people in those particular areas, but drivers may experience some temporary delays between the hours of 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. with all those race events taking place. Science Parade is also taking place. It's going to be held April 22nd, so also on Saturday. This is going to be 12:30 p.m. The parade route will begin on Richland Avenue, at the Richland Avenue parking lot, and proceed to Dairy Lane, to Richland Avenue, to President Street, to Court Street, and then it will end at the Athens County Courthouse, so up here at the intersection of Court and Washington. So be cognizant of that. Again, there will probably be some traffic delays and some closures in that area. That won't be as impactful as the races, but just keep that in mind. This Friday is Earth Day / Arbor Day, and there will be an Arbor Day celebration taking place that will be at 9 a.m. There will also be another event at 3 p.m. at Morrison Gordon Elementary School. Two trees will be planted. And the trees, there will be tree-related activities that were scheduled for the students at the school. I will be reading a proclamation at the 9 a.m. Event with the tree planting at 9:15. Circling back around, the Household Hazardous Waste Day. The city and the township will be hosting a household hazardous waste and drop-off opportunity for the residents. This is going to be Saturday. I've got the wrong date written on here. It says Saturday, April 23rd. That is not correct. Maybe Ryan can find that for me, but let me just talk a little bit about the household hazardous waste items that can be picked up. I believe that might be the 26th, but we'll check on that real quick. The event is typically in the mornings. I've got listed here 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Some of the household hazardous waste items that can be dropped off are flammables, such as oil-based paints, lighter fluid, toluene, flares, propane cylinders, 20 pounds max for those, adhesives, kerosene, gasoline, motor oil filters, some reactive materials, cyanide, pool chlorine, fertilizer, some corrosives. These would be acids, caustics, drain cleaners, pool chemicals, car batteries, household batteries. Some of the toxics would be bleach, ammonias, weed killers, antifreeze, insect killers, transmission fluid, brake fluid, mercury, rat poison, e-waste, computers, CPUs, pretty much anything that's computer related, household batteries, fluorescent light bulbs, cell phones. That is going to be May 13th. May 13th, is it again 9 to 1 p.m.? Thank you, Ryan, man on the spot. Cell phones, oil-based latex paints, I already mentioned that, tires. 17-inch rims or less for tires. No more than 6 5-gallon containers per vehicle. No drums, no containers larger than 5 gallons. No bagged dry materials over 50 pounds. So we do have some things you have to be cognizant of that. I want to get to the non-acceptable items. This is important. No ammunition, no hand grenades. Do not bring us hand grenades. No smoke detectors, prescription medications or syringes, school or business waste, appliances, propane cylinders over 20 pounds, explosives. Again, don't bring us explosives. Don't bring us regular trash. Asbestos, radioactive materials, don't need that. Waste material, TVs or microwaves, those types of things, again, we will not be receiving. So keep that all in mind when it comes to the household hazardous waste. A lot of things going up. You've probably been noticing that for those who have been out and about Athens, that we are well into orange barrel season. The biggest one is ODOT District 10's construction project. Part of the project is concrete pavement on US 33 from Columbus Road to East State Street. They're going to be removing and replacing full depth asphalt pavement. This will be also replacing some of the concrete pavement on State Route 550 between Township Roads 1225 and 1254A. There'll be some ramp repair going on or replacement taking place off of East or US 33 and State Route 550, and then the eastbound ramp for East State Street. So, just alerting everyone with that, there's going to be a lot of activity going on in that area where we'll see some lane diversion with this 33 project. Not to be confused with the East State Street project, which does include some 33 repairs, but that is going to be in 2018. This is specifically, again, in between East State Street and Columbus Road. and by and large on 33. So just be cognizant of that. That project cost, by the way, is about $13 million in repairs, and the anticipated completion date for all that work is going to be November 30th of 2017. So that is a this year project. McKinley Avenue extension and the Stimson Avenue roundabout project. This is project 302. There's going to be phase 1 that's taking place soon. Phase 1 is Stimson Avenue roundabout. This phase of the project includes the construction of the roundabout at Stimson Avenue, as well as some of the McKinley Avenue intersection work. What you're going to see is this will be rolling out mid-May, or early May rather, and work through mid-July. So this is not going to be a long time frame, but it is going to be a time frame that requires a lot of closures. What you're going to see is some Stimson Avenue lane closures between McKinley Avenue and all the way out to Rock Riffle Road on the other side of the river. Phase 1B is going to be the phase of the project that includes McKinley Avenue, and this is going to take place between early May and early August. So the whole project isn't long, but again, a lot of logistics taking place in terms of closures and whatnot. During that time, for phase 1B, McKinley Avenue will be closed, and you're going to see a lot of pedestrian and vehicle detours throughout that area. Just to remind everybody, this is a $2 million plus project where there's been a lot of money coming in from the Appalachian Regional Commission, Jobs Ohio, Ohio Department of Transportation, but also Ohio University and the City of Athens partnering on making this happen. West Union Street Improvements Project, I've mentioned this several times. That project is a rolling construction project where the contractor, which is DV Weber, will be out there doing work Monday through Thursdays. They're putting in 4 10-hour days to work through that project. Again, we're hoping to have that project done by the end of June, if not sooner. But everyone knows how construction projects go, but at that point, that's what we're tracking in terms of sidewalk closures. Sidewalks won't be completely closed on that. I have to remind everyone again, there will be pedestrian access throughout the length of that street. And I'm talking Court Street to Congress Street on West Union. So that work going on down there. And on an up note, a closure of a project, which is the Columbus Road Bike Path Spur, where we had to do some repair to some flood damage that took place down there. That was completed yesterday. So the Bike Path Spur is once again open to Columbus Road. There will be some tree planting going on tomorrow and Friday, I believe. So that's a good thing to have out of the way. The North Congress Area Sewer Line Project, there's going to be some surveying taking place in that area, which is expected to begin yesterday. The construction is slated to begin late April or early May for the North Congress Street Sewer Line Project. Commission on Disabilities meeting is this evening. That's always 5:30 to 7:30 up in the community center, open to the public. So please come if you're interested. The Planning Commission, we are meeting tomorrow at noon to 1:30 here in council chambers. Arts West is holding a Bondo yoga clinic. That will be, let's see, the dates on that. Saturday and Sunday training lessons. There is a cost associated with it. For ABA members, it is $50 in advance, $60 at the door for non-American Bondo Association members. So come all, $75 in advance, $85 at the door. I'm sorry, the $75 for non-Bondo, American Bondo Association members, $75 in advance, $85 at the door for participating in that, $75 for Bondo members if you get your tickets at the door. And we have a community service opportunity. City of Athens has commission openings. We have several on 3 different commissions of the 18 or 19 boards and commissions that we have in the city, all of them being volunteer-based, and we're very appreciative of that. We have the Environment and Sustainability Commission, 1 position open for that. If you're interested, please send your resume or a brief bio to the Clerk of Council, Debbie Walker. You can reach her via email at dwalker@ci.athens.oh.us. We have a Community Relations Commission position or vacancy as well. That's appointed by council. Again, you can send your resume or brief bio to Debbie Walker. And finally, we have 3 vacancies on the Joint Police Advisory Council. 3 different kind of categories. We need someone who is a landlord. We need someone who represents an unrepresented constituency, and then one who's a city resident representative, and that can be in any ward. It can be citywide. It doesn't matter, but someone representing the citizens of Athens. You can send me in my office your bio or a resume if you're interested in serving on that, and then council will approve. So you can send it to me or to my executive assistant, Patty Whitmer, at pwhitmer, which is WITMER, at ci.athens.oh.us. So please, if you're interested at all, send me or council your bio or resumes, and we will get you on one of those boards or commissions. Before I get into items from the press, I do have someone from the press here today. I want to end on a high note, and so we've got some PowerPoints I want to present. This is our 5-month report card that we've received from Big Belly, which is not in reference to myself or anyone else for that matter. It's in reference to our solar-operated trash receptacles up and down Court Street. If we scroll on to the next slide, you'll see that we've already deployed a number of Big Belly waste and receptacle containers, 24 in total, up and down the Court Street corridor, and also onto somewhat onto Carpenter, onto State Street, a few of them on Washington, and in the future you'll see a few more put up and down Union Street, and probably in particular West Union Street corridor. So those have been deployed. We've gotten, like I said, our report card on those. If we go to the next slide, you can see the red indicates on this slide, red indicates a full container. So early on, we were sitting there, if you look at the early deployment of these, which would be on the left-hand side of that graph, when we were trying to slowly get ourselves worked into the system. Red indicates full receptacles, full trash cans. Yellow indicates that they are half full, and green means that they are empty. What you want to try to do is you want to try and get in that sweet spot to where they're by and large green or yellow. Yellow is when we typically have Athens Hocking Recycling Center come down and empty these. So we've done a great job as we've rolled this forward in getting used to things. If we go on to the next slide, this is excellent information to share with all of you, which indicates that we are kind of hitting that sweet spot of being in there to pick up the trash, as is in, kind of in that yellow to the halfway point to full point for these trash receptacles, not wanting any of them to sit full for any long period of any time at all, really. Want them to be collected. But if you look at this within the first 5 months, you can see that the savings, we've got a 74% reduction in the amount of time that is being spent with having these trash receptacles emptied. And more importantly, if you look at the top of the screen where you see these 7, the dashed line up there, which indicates 7 times a week, what we used to have is the Athens Hocking Recycling or any of our carriers who were collecting the trash on Court Street in these receptacles, they were cleaning them up, emptying them 6 days a week. Now we're down to, on average, 1.1 days a week that those are having to be emptied. So that's great information to share with everybody at this point in time. The next slide shows our efficiency, the efficiency since deploying things. If you look at this graph from November of 2016 to April of 2017, with the initial deployment, our efficiency was about 50%, but I have to make mention that during that time, we still had the round bins that were out. Our old bins were still out on Court Street. We have since had them removed. Since beginning of March, we had them removed. And so you see a further uptick in the efficiency of removing trash after we remove those to where we have about 60, we're up to 68% in terms of our efficiency. So we're getting even better because we had to still send the trucks out to pick up and remove trash out of the old round bins. So even with the round bins and Big Billy up there, we've enhanced our efficiency by another 18%. That again is good news. If you move on to the next slide real quick. You can see here what we have diverted from the landfill with our trash bins. So before, if you recall, with the former trash bins, there was no recycling on Court Street. So everything was being sent to the landfill. Now we have solid metrics showing, 23,820 gallons of trash that has been removed from the landfill and sent off to be recycled. Again, what we believe to be a great report card there. The final slide that I want to show you is, this is also one of the great things about this system, is that we can also identify low use versus high use bins that are out there. If you look at this, those that are in red, orange to yellow, those are high to moderate use bins. Purple and blue are low use bins. And if you look at this carefully, you'll see that we do have a couple bins that are fairly low use at this point in time. And so that affords us the opportunity to relocate some of these to enhance or augment some of the higher use bins that we've got, which is something that we're likely to do. But we'd also like to deploy in the future more of these bins to get the remainder of the older open round or bins, trash bins that aren't recycled off of Court Street. So this is a great first step, I think, in moving forward. If you want to cycle through a couple last questions or a couple more slides, you can skip over the next one and go straight to this one. Anyone having questions, you can certainly reach out to Big Belly, but more importantly, you can reach out to Ron Lucas here at the city, or you can reach out to me if you have any comments or concerns about Big Belly. But this is exciting stuff to share with those who are watching or maybe watching in the future as just an interesting 5-month report card about the Big Belly system, or at least our recycling efforts up on Court Street. Thank you. That said, if you would do me a favor and just state your name, and I'm assuming you're with WOUB, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's Newswatch at Noon, which is through WOUB. So,
excellent.
Yeah, just give me one moment, please. Sorry. And I'm Maddie.
Hi, Maddie.
Staley, hello.
Maddie Daly?
Maddie Staley.
Staley. So I've got Maddie Staley here with me as a reporter for
So
WOUB.
I'm working on a story just to kind of wrap up fest season this year. And so I'm just wondering your thoughts. Do you think that this year's fest season has gone pretty smoothly?
I really do. I'm glad you asked. I believe that it has gone very smoothly. Some of the things that I'm basing that on is seeing a lot of compliance. I see a lot of great stewardship on both ends, watching the law enforcement and how they engaged and interacted with the houses and the house parties on Mill, on High, and Palmer. And I've seen a lot of positives on both sides in terms of the stewardship. I went up and I was up on Palmer. Actually, I was on all the fest streets this year, but Palmer in particular, I was just kind of walking around and observing things, and I was standing behind one of the houses on Palmer, on the north end of Palmer Street, and just watching how things were going, and actually had the one of the tenants of that house on the end of Palmer come up to me and just ask, "Is everything going okay?" And I looked at him. I said, "Things are going great. You guys are doing everything in a very positive way," to which he was thankful for that, as I was towards him for even just coming up and asking how he felt. I thought things were going, and when it came to kind of the shutdown process at the end. Once again, I have to say, everyone was, I think, almost thankful on that end that the party had gone on long enough. I think for those who were partying on Palmer, and they were kind of in some ways appreciative to, thank you for shutting it down, thank you for letting us party as long as we were partying. And the thing that I thought went really smoothly, really has little to do with anything that the city is doing, but I have to give huge thank yous out to the student body that engaged in that when the events were over, as soon as they were over, that they were out cleaning up their properties and their houses. And I remember walking, again, I'm going to use Palmer as an example. I remember walking along as the houses were being shut down, and I remember looking back over my shoulder, and the house that had just been shut down, or houses on both sides, there was a lot of stuff in their yards. A lot of cans, a lot of bottles, a lot of trash, whatever. And then I looked the next house back, and it was like halfway clean. And then I looked a third house back, and they were completely clean. So I have to give, again, a lot of praise to those who were the tenants up and down those said streets, that I think they really did a great job in cleaning up after themselves, to bring things back. And I've heard that from citizens who may go to the churches that are in those areas and drive along there, that they had noticed too, how clean those streets had become after any of those fests. And again, Mill High or Palmer Fest. So I think they've gone smoothly. I believe in the unfortunate event in which there were a couple arrests or citations that took place during those events, those numbers, as I understand it, and at Palmer in particular, those numbers were down, and that says a lot, that everyone's kind of watching out for each other, I would hope, and I think that kind of holds true with the reduction in the number of people who were issued citations or who were arrested for underage drinking or for whatever that took place. So,
right, that's great. And so, why do you think that this year was different from any of the years in the past?
I'm not going to say that this year was a whole lot different. What I can say is that I have seen over the course of the past 4 or 5 years that there's kind of been this evolution taking place within the parties, the events themselves, to where I think that as the new classes are coming in, I always have to think of things, and I used to be, as you know, a professor at OU, and I know it's just a revolving student body every year. It's a new class coming in and a class graduating, and everybody moving up a grade. And so with that, I think that there's a lot of information that is now starting to be recirculated as the new students are coming in, and everyone's kind of understanding. So we're seeing kind of an OU student culture shift and level of understanding as to how things are conducted during the different fests. But I think that's also true with what we're seeing in the neighborhoods throughout the rest of the year that are non-fest related, that keep your yard clean or you could be cited. And so we're seeing that information now getting out, on non-fest periods just throughout the year. Noise ordinance, I think a lot of people now understand what the noise ordinance is. It's still having to educate over and over again, but I would have to say that over the course of the past 4 or 5 years, we've seen a definite change. And I think it's because of getting that consistent message out year after year after year.
Great. And so in the future, what do you hope to continue to do, and what plans are being made to continue reducing the arrests, the smoothness of fest season and whatnot?
Just, again, partnering with off-campus student housing, with Ohio University. Barb Harrison has been a great ally, has Jenny Hall-Jones and the Dean of Students has been great. I mean, I think it's a great partnership, and we're all working together. We're all singing from the same sheet of music to make sure everyone is well informed as to, you know, one, what the laws are, what the process is, ways that you can have a good time, and to not have your house shut down prematurely because you know how things go. But also, I think understanding that you know, there's a time in which anybody has kind of partied long enough. So, but there is no plan to change anything. The way things are going right now seems to be working really well, and so that's, you know, where the administration is going, is making sure that things are safe and that people kind of just understand the rules of the road, if you will.
Great, awesome. Really, I think that's all I have. You touched on everything, so thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you answering everything fully. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks to you, those of you who are tuning in today. I really appreciate it. There was a lot of information that came out today in my press conference. And hopefully you'll join me again next week. Have a great week.